Deciding on the Game Week 28 captaincy is very tough, so I'm going to analyse the data to help you pick the best captain. Let's get straight into it and take a look at the shortlist. First up, we've got Bruno Fernandes. He's got the only home fixture against West Ham. Second, we've got Harry Kane. He's in a North London derby against Arsenal at the Emirates. Penultimately, we've got Raheem Sterling. He's up against Fulham away from home. And last but not least, we've got Kevin De Bruyne. He's up against Fulham away from home as well. It's fair to say this game week that none of these four players have an easy fixture. Whittling down the shortlist this game week wasn't an easy job, so there are some honourable mentions. From Manchester City, you've got Gundo. I know he scored, and I might sound like I'm contradicting myself from last game week, but I did really like the look of De Bruyne in the last match. Something that does go against Gundo is that he played 90 minutes in the last match. Sterling didn't play any minutes, and KDB got a 20-minute rest at the end. Another option from City is Mahrez. He's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. He's so on and off, so I wouldn't go and put the armband on him. Ideally, I'd like to captain a Chelsea player versus Leeds because the elite goals at the back, but who would you go for? Werner's been off the boil this season, and I know Mount is in good form, but he's not done enough for me to put the captain's armband on him. Vardy has got an easy fixture against Sheffield United, but I feel like we're kind of relying on penalties there because he's only got 6 goals from open play in the Premier League this season. Lastly, you've got Richarlison. He's in good form, but I wouldn't quite put him on the shortlist with these 4 players. Through the course of this season, Kane and De Bruyne have the best underlying stats. De Bruyne has the highest non-penalty expected goal involvement per 90 minutes, but you do get more points for a goal than you do for an assist, so Kane wins on the expected FPL return points per 90 minutes. Kane's return rate has been very impressive this season. He's averaging 6 returns for every 5 games played. Whilst De Bruyne matches him for the assist per 90 minutes, Fernandes is a slight margin behind on the goals per 90 minutes. Just to put into perspective how good Kane has been this season, he's returned 29 times, scoring 16 goals and registering 13 assists. Over the course of the last 5 matches, Kane also has the best underlying stats. He's got the highest non-penalty expected goals per 90 minutes, which brings his non-penalty expected goal involvement per 90 minutes tally to the highest on the shortlist. The player not far behind him is De Bruyne. He is the most creative player on the shortlist, so it's not surprising that he's got the highest expected assist per 90 minutes. In that period of time, it's actually Fernandes who has scored the most goals and registered the most assists per 90 minutes. But one thing that we need to take into consideration is that the non-penalty expected goal involvement per 90 minutes stat is much more sustainable of predicting future goals and assists than actual goals and assists are themselves. Something that does fall in Bruno's favour is that he's on penalties and he plays for United, who do get a lot of penalties. Kane's on penalties for Spurs. I doubt Sterling's on penalties for City. It's probably De Bruyne, but Aguero has come back into the picture recently, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's back on penalties. It's fair to say that the 2 City lads have slightly the easiest fixture, but Fulham actually aren't as bad at the back as the expected goals conceded and goals against stats suggest. They have tightened up at the back a lot recently, so there's been a lot of improvement there. Nevertheless, they have got the lowest clean sheet odds on the shortlist by 7% behind West Ham, and West Ham are 10% less likely to get a clean sheet than Arsenal. In all fairness, a big contributing factor of Fulham's clean sheet odds being so low is the ability of Man City to score plenty of goals. Speaking of which, it's actually the 2 City players who have the highest probability of returning. Sterling has the best chance of scoring a goal, whilst De Bruyne has the best chance of obtaining an assist. As far as the points projections go, Fantasy Football Hub are backing De Bruyne by 0.1, whilst Fantasy Football Fix are backing Sterling by 0.1. If you take a look across the board, all of the players are predicted to get around about 5 points. Whilst this video is being recorded, Kane and Bruno haven't yet played in the Europa League. They will get around about 3 days rest like De Bruyne. You might wonder why Sterling has doubled the recovery time of De Bruyne whilst they play for the same team. It's because Sterling didn't feature in the last match in the Premier League. With that information, I'm expecting Sterling to play in the next match. I'm also expecting De Bruyne to play in the next match, not only because he's had 20 minutes rest at the end of the last one, but Pep did say that he's fundamental to his plans and he doesn't want to drop him. Okay, so with it being so close this game week, I'm going to use a process of elimination method to decide the best captain. The first player I'm going to eliminate is Bruno Fernandes. He's not been in the best form and he's got the lowest probability of returning. Next, I would just about eliminate Kane. I know that he's been in good form recently and I know he's having a really good season, but he's got a tough fixture in a derby against Arsenal. They've got the highest clean sheet odds on the shortlist out of all the opponents, and they've conceded the least amount of goals this season out of those teams as well. So it's down to Sterling and De Bruyne. I'm tipping this player as the best captain for Game Week 28 because I believe he's more reliable, he's in slightly better form, and he's got the highest probability of returning. It's Kevin De Bruyne.